If I can welcome to the stage Raj Kotecha and the man himself, Gary Vaynerchuk.
Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Should we get those levels right?
Hello,
How are you?
hello. I am tremendous. Hey, London.
So how you feeling? How's the day been for you so far? Maybe for those of you who were not here for the first half of the day. Oh, I should introduce myself, Raj Kotecha, co-founder with Sujan of VaynerWorld. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming down, because every ticket, seat, sponsorship, etc. has helped make this event possible right here in central London on probably what is the busiest night of the year. Christmas party-wise, the true hustlers are in the room. We're building businesses. It's not about parties. I remember you said that, and I feel like I should get that tattooed. So thank you all for coming. Our interviews have always been a lot of fun in two ways, because I've massively enjoyed them and I've also learned a lot. But one thing that makes them special is that we always start off our interviews with a bit of gift time, Gary's gift time. So I'm going to bring the gifts out first and foremost. And because this is VaynerWorld, you notice it's a bit more of an experience. So it's like Vayner 100, you get to hang out with Gary, a little bit of hip-hop in there as well. And the guys at Hip Hop Toy Shop have donated some prizes. Now, last time I got you the Biggie album, and the Biggie album, the unedited one. This time I think I've stepped it up even further. So these guys are a niche outfit and they're doing some really amazing stuff. So firstly, you can style on all the people back at the office an MF Doom limited edition poster.
Amazing.
Which is
Thank
cool.
you. Incredible.
It gets better.
This was pretty awesome in itself.
A OG Bear Slick Rick t-shirt.
Yes.
Now Slick Rick, just take a look at that, guys. Now, Slick Rick is from where?
Oakland? Oh, from here, right? Yes, I know.
Birmingham.
That's
He's from
right.
Birmingham.
Amazing. Thank you.
All right. Now, this is the PS. When I thought about what to get you today, this is the first thing that came to mind, because these guys have an exclusive limited design of this. Now, this may appear to look like a limited edition ready-to-die vinyl.
Yes.
But in actual fact, this is one of 1,000 paper toys of Biggie. So I'm going to give that to you, and you have to assemble that yourself, but in true British fashion, as we used to have on Blue Peter over here. Here's one we made earlier.
Amazing.
So that's for you.
Thank you, buddy. Let's put Biggie right here.
And it comes with the bag as well. Now,
thank you so much. It's very nice.
No, you're more than welcome. Thank you for joining us today and coming all the way. I know you've probably not slept for around 3 days. Firstly, let's start off with something that I did not think was going to be the first question today, but as I've walked around the room, there are people that still want to kind of calibrate and familiarize themselves with you. Give us the classic overview of Gary Vaynerchuk, just so we know a little bit about the history and the background, so that A, everyone understands, and B, we'd have to do it again next year.
So I would say that I'm an entrepreneur. I was born in Belarus in the former Soviet Union. I came to the United States when I was 3 in 1978. My family was very poor. We didn't speak English. We lived in a studio apartment the size of this stage. As you can tell, it's not that big, with 8 family members in a studio in Queens, New York. My parents are 100% my heroes. My dad worked every day of his life. Still is. I was 14 when I started to get to know my dad, because he worked that much. He would leave before I woke up and be home after I went to sleep. I was super entrepreneur. Lemonade stands when I was 5, had 6 of them. Was making $2,000 to $3,000 a weekend when I was 13, selling baseball cards in the malls of New Jersey. When I was 14, my dad dragged me into the liquor store that now he owned, because one of the jobs my dad got was being a stock boy in a liquor store in New Jersey. And I fell in love with the idea of collecting and selling wine when I was 16. Decided to join my family business, launched WineLibrary.com in 1996, which was one of the first e-commerce wine businesses in America, and grew our family business from a $3 to a $60 million business in a 6-year period. In 2006, when YouTube came out, I started a show on YouTube called Wine Library TV that made me somewhat internet famous. I used Facebook and Twitter and other things of that nature to build that show, which brought attention to me as a new age marketer. In 2009, I wrote a book called Crush It that became a very big New York Times best-selling book. That led to me speaking, consulting. In 2009, I started a company called VaynerMedia that I started with my brother AJ. We are a strategy and creative shop for Fortune 500 companies producing content on social networks, which is the backbone of this book. We've grown that business from 20 to 300 employees in the last 24 months since I've joined as a CEO. I'm also an angel investor. I invested in Twitter and Tumblr, Uber, Birchbox, and a lot of successful and some non-successful. Yobongo, you fuckers lost me a lot of money. But I still believe in that company, god damn it. And so that's who I am.
Okay, and I guess, so does that kind of answer for some of the people that were asking me earlier on, the questions about Gary and his background? I'm sure, as you said in your video, that most people know your spiel right now. Side note, I emailed Gary and said, Gary, please make us a video that says when you're coming, what the venue is, what the URL is to buy tickets, and you said, I don't give a crap about the Beatles in a promotional video. So we went a little bit off topic there, but I'm glad that everyone was able to make it. What do you know about the London scene in 2013 in terms of technology and marketing?
Little, you know. I've been very head down the last 2 years building this company. You know, you don't get from 20 to 300 just by like hanging out on Twitter all day. So, you know, most of my angel investing comes from the fact that people reaching out to me or getting recommendations from my other friends like Kevin Rose or other people that are in the game. So very, very little. Sorry.
And so if you're a marketing company in the UK and you're thinking about a lot of the marketing strategies, and I think that this book is quite tactical,
well, that's a different story. You know, the tech scene's one thing. I mean, Unilever is one of my biggest clients.
Right.
So I understand the market. You know, we have GE and Unilever and Hasbro and PepsiCo. So the end, like you guys and what you buy, drink, eat, sleep, like those things I know. The startup scene, bless you, the startup scene, I know a little bit less. The agencies that are from the UK, I know a little bit less. But the, you know, marketing to the UK market, that I understand.
And so from the agency and consulting work that I'm doing, I found this book to be extremely practical. Give us a little bit of overview about this book, how it's different from the other books, and what it is the kind of key takeaways from people that have got this book, and everyone in the audience has got at least one copy.
Before I wrote this book, I sat on Amazon and read every single negative review of my last 2 books twice to get in the right mindset, because both books did extremely well. And the only negative reviews were people that just decided they didn't want to like me, and or people that don't want to read books that are why books. They want to read how-to books. And so I wanted to write a how-to book. I wanted to write a textbook. I knew, the reason I wrote this book is because I know that I am at the forefront of creating content specifically to the channels where we're spending more and more of our attention. And I felt compelled, selfishly, to be the godfather of the conversation, but also nicely, because I want to educate the market and let other people win like I did with Crush It, that I needed to write this book, that people were misunderstanding it, that the far majority of the marketplace is using social networks as distribution for attention elsewhere instead of putting out content that actually works there. And that's the whole game, right? Like, I live mentally in a stream economy. Let me explain. I live in a world where I believe the far majority of consumption going on in the future, and definitely within the current, that an extraordinary amount of consumption that we have in our lives today is predicated on us doing this. Right? We do that. And on, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Tumblr or Pinterest or Instagram, the amount of time that we're spending our eyes, our attention in a stream economy, a little screen with a stream that we're whizzing by very quickly. The way to storytell and stop somebody in that world takes a very different science than putting up a fucking billboard, right? And so I've been trying to figure that out. I've been getting enormous results. This book talks about those pieces of creative, those 6-second Vine videos, those Snapchats, but more importantly, very focused on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest, and Instagram. And if you're in business, or if you're in nonprofit, if you work somewhere, if you work for somebody, if your business, your organization is not storytelling in that fashion in 2014, you are slowly getting out of relevance.
Some of your clients are paying, in the recent interviews that I saw, around the kind of 80,000 US dollars retainers to your firm. Now, I wonder, this book, I kind of have two observations. One is that there's lots of micro content in the book. You can look at one whole page, learn one whole lesson, and then move on, whether it be about Pinterest, Snapchat, and so on. But let's go under the hood of your business for a second. To what extent is this merch for VaynerMedia to make that 80,000 a month, 100,000 a month?
It's actually the reverse. So I think a lot of people write books as pamphlets and promotion for what they do for a living. I actually wrote this book to control the conversation at a high level, not to get new clients. Getting new clients is the last problem I have, right? That's the best thing and that's an obnoxious statement to make, and I'm not confused that the audacity to make that statement is what it is, but it's the truth. What I'm good at is getting clients. I mean, we've gone from zero to what we've become because I'm a good salesman. It's not my issue at hand. My issue at hand is not new business. My issue at hand is I'm building a very large company. I'm not going to be able to keep every employee. The secret sauce of VaynerMedia is the brain power within VaynerMedia. That brain power is going to go to the world. Other agencies, other clients, and the best way for me to stay on top and in leadership is to be the storyteller around the issue at hand, not anything else. So this is more about legacy and being positioned properly within the conversation, more so than getting new clients.
And every time you release a book, you'll bring new platforms and new strategies to the forefront. In this one, there's a lot more coverage. Well, recently as well, you've been talking a lot in promotion of this book around Snapchat and around Vine. I noticed on the front cover of this book that YouTube isn't there.
Yes. YouTube's not a social network. YouTube is a content platform. By the way, everything but Twitter is a content platform, but a lot of them were predicated from a social network standpoint. Making that statement, I could very much debate myself that YouTube deserves to be in this book. It's not what I wanted to talk about. I think that it's a more mature marketplace. I still think that now that Google Plus is forced for commenting and we have real identity, I'm curious to see where YouTube could be. But I feel like YouTube's being covered properly enough and is garnishing enough results. I'm not here for anything other than to be historically correct. I'm very selfish about my sharing. I'm very focused on what I want to talk about. YouTube didn't feel appropriate.
And what is it that makes Snapchat so appropriate as part of the 2013,
because nobody knows what the fuck to do with it.
Right.
and I do, and that gives me an opportunity to position it and educate the marketplace. And it felt very good to me today, being at the Vayner 100 thing with the 100 people that were here, that 20 people came up to me and said, with Crush It, you taught me what to do, and now I have this business. And I want to tell people what to do with Snapchat so that they win too. I'm going to get mine, right? I'm going to get mine. I'm going to be able to get as much of the stuff that I want in life because there's so much. What I can't replicate is the feeling of helping people do something properly that brings them results, because that email, that face-to-face, I mean, do you know what it feels like to meet another human being that tells you that you've changed their life? It's insane.
And when you put this whole kind of book together, what's the feedback been so far in terms of, positive? I'm assuming it's a lot of positive because it's my faraway favorite
it's kind of like having 3 children and realizing like one of them's better looking than the others. It's been kind of weird actually. It's getting such ridiculously like more than it deserves good feedback that it makes me like question, did I fuck up? Thank you, economy. Is it because I've been kind of quiet for the last 2 years for me, because I've been building Vayner, and maybe like they're just happy, my fans are happy to jam with me again. Probably because it's the deepest that I've ever gone into my tactics, right? My last 2 books, my videos that you get to see online, my quotes, they're kind of theoretical. This was the deepest kind of like under the hood that I've ever showed. I think that's helped. I also think that my brand in the tech world is starting to evolve. I think that the Gary V, for the people that know it, I got so internet famous that I think people forgot that I actually built a $60 million business. And I think VaynerMedia growing so quickly and making so much noise in the agency world and taking real business away from the Edelmans and the Ogilvies and the Wieden & Kennedys and taking brands like Dove and Mountain Dew is reminding people like, oh, wait a minute, yeah, he's obnoxious or charismatic or over the top or whatever you categorize me, but oh, right, he actually executes. And I wonder if this has helped remind the market a little bit of that too. So I'm not sure, I'm thrilled. I mean, the book has got, Crush It, I was new. Everybody, all the feedback came after the fact as it started happening. Thank You Economy was a very philosophical book in a place that most people don't want to go. Most people don't want to live their lives or their businesses caring about other people. The ones that have benefited greatly. This book, people are tweeting pictures the night after they read it of their Facebook posts getting 3 times the impressions that they got the day earlier. It's so quick and actionable, and nobody's patient. And so the fact that this book is actually giving people results so immediately, of course they're going to give me more kudos. That pisses me off, by the way. It pisses me off that things that are quick fixes get bigger applause than the things that really matter. Thank You Economy is the book that deserves the most credit. If you truly live it, you will have a much better business in life forever. But I'll take both.
As you grow and there's that extra elements of confusion around, you know, maybe forgetting the fact that you did build a $60 million business in wine, has that brought critics to the forefront for the first time for Gary Vaynerchuk?
Meaning?
People that maybe get the short version of your story and say, Gary's not right for this reason, Gary's not right for that reason.
Listen, I've always had critics forever, and then on top of that, the way I communicate publicly, immediately, I mean, there's people in this room that came because of somebody else, and like, when my opening statement was, you know, the last thing I need is new clients, they're like, boy, this guy's brash, right? Like I'm very self-aware of how I can come across if somebody consumes me in a micro moment. You know, I'm equally egotistical as I am humble. I've got them both. I'm like a bridge. I pull from both directions. So if you decide to consume me within a moment, right? And I curse and I don't give a fuck, you know, like there's a lot of reasons to dislike me or be cynical of me, but I never lose the game long term. The reason I'm calm with it is because net, eventually, you know, the proof is in the pudding. Like, I know how my parents raised me. I know what kind of human being I am. I only wish good on everybody else. I just want to build the biggest building in town, but I want to do it by actually building the biggest building in town, not by tearing everybody else's buildings down. Get it? So, long term, I'll win. I know what I do behind the scenes. I know who I am as a human being. So I'm very content.
With all the extra noise, who are the successful people getting your attention now online? People that are tweeting you, emailing you. What is it that's making you go, you know what, I need to move this to the top of my email inbox. I need to address this tweet sooner rather than later, because you've recently hit 1 million followers, congratulations, and I wonder how you deal with that noise.
There's nothing that really makes anything happen other than the fact that I want to get to every one of them. So either I get to them or I don't, because the math has gotten so great and I can't get to everything, and it just comes down to persistence. You know, some people email me for the 4th time. You know, in 2000, famously from 2006, at least in my world, from 2006 to 2011, I answered every email. Like literally, it had to go to spam or something weird happened if you didn't get an answer. Then I couldn't do it anymore. I started having children. Your life changes and your priorities change. But at this point, I still answer as many emails and a stunning amount of tweets if I get them. And that's because I'm very thankful for getting them in the first place.
Right. So to remain on schedule this evening, we've got that opportunity right now. We're going to open up to the floor. So whilst we get the mic turned on and the channel turned up and we see a raise of hands, I'll just give you a couple of kind of ground rules. Firstly, please ask a question in the first instance if you can, because that will obviously help share knowledge. Secondly, please let us know who you are, if you're from a company, what your Twitter handle is, and give us a moment just to get the camera on you as well, so that when this video does go out for all time on YouTube, that you kind of get the props for asking your question. Because right now, hopefully, tens of thousands of people have already watched this on their mobile devices, PCs, smart TVs, watches, who knows in the future. So let me open the floor to questions. Please raise your hand. Immediately incredibly popular. You don't get this at the traffic wardens convention. Let's just go right up to the front here, and then we'll kind of wafter our way around. Give us your name, your company, and what question you'd like to ask.
Hi, I'm Marcin Osman. I'm from Poland. I just flew here directly to meet Gary. It's very cool.
Thank you.
And my question is, I'm an entrepreneur. It's very great, but not all days are great in a company. So what are your tips and tricks for tough days?
I think there's massive confusion around entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship sucks. I mean, it's lonely. It's high risk. I mean, I can't live without it, but it's like a bad boyfriend, right? Or girlfriend, right? Like there's a ton of bad days being an entrepreneur. Not to mention 98% of entrepreneurial ventures are gonna fail. So there's gonna be a really bad fucking day in your future. You know, hopefully not for you, or any of you. You know, for me, I think this is a very personal question. I think it's how you're wired. I'm so all in entrepreneur, I prefer the pain. I think one of the reasons I love the Jets so much is because they bring me so much pain. You know, I love the climb. To me, the setback is exciting. I love when something goes wrong. It's where I shine the most. But that's not for everybody, right? I mean, it can be very difficult. And when you start affecting your life and your loved ones and all the other things, it can get real nasty. To me, the way I handle things, even in the few rare days when I really struggle, I take a real step back and make pretend that somebody called me and told me that my mother or daughter were killed. And I know that's very dark, and I apologize, but it's really what I do. I literally am able to, at my deepest, most struggling moment within business, take a step back and remind myself that I can make $1 trillion tomorrow on Bitcoin, and if something bad happened to the people I love the most, that it would mean nothing. And it very consistently rewires me very quickly. I just put business in perspective. At the end of the day, you know, it's money. For me, it's not really money, it's my legacy, so I get hurt by it a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I put it in perspective. It's money. And you know what? Up until I had a daughter, even while I was married, up until when I had Misha 4 years ago, I secretly wanted to lose all my money. I had this weird, twisted, dark fantasy of losing everything just to rise again like a phoenix and remind you motherfuckers. I really did. It was actually, I'm actually glad that's gone, you know?
If that was a hashtag, that'd be like what, sado-capitalistic?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I'm pure entrepreneur. I believe in capitalism. I like when people go out of business. I'm like, yeah, you deserve it. I believe that. I really do. I really truthfully do. I know it's kind of interesting, but I truly believe like the market is the market. The market is what we should care about. And the consumer is what we should care about. And if the consumer is not being, you know, given what they want, they won't buy. And that means the entrepreneur and the organization missed the boat, and they deserve to lose.
Right. I don't want to be that kind of guy that people go, oh, he's an asshole, he didn't pick me. So I'm going to say, Serge, please be the asshole. And pick the next question. And
Serge, can you do me a favor? Can you start with the back?
Yeah, no worries. It's fine. Yeah.
Hi, Gary.
Could you stand up there?
Can you sit up, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah. Earlier, you were having...
What's your name?
Jack from Valtech. I work for an agency. Earlier, you had a Twitter conversation with someone about Snapchat.
Yeah.
And they said that it was the next MySpace.
Yes.
And you completely disagreed.
I also just posted a Medium while I was gone.
Yeah, and I agree with
Content.
you. But what is the next MySpace if it's not Snapchat?
I have no idea. And I mean that. I really don't. And I don't care to know it. Here's why. When something fails and dies, I'll leave. You read the Medium. I just posted something which is, everybody's so fixated on predicting which app is gonna win or lose. I don't give a fuck. What I care about is marketing while something is relevant. Just like the way people buy commercials on television, right? When a show is hot, you buy ads. When season 6 comes along and people stop watching, you don't. And the fact that we haven't started using that same psychology on these emerging platforms is confusing to me. I think because of the way history happened, MySpace was so big, it died, came Facebook, I think everybody's affected by it. I think it's stupid. I'm thrilled that people aren't playing properly, more for me and my clients, but you know, I don't know what the next MySpace is. I know Tumblr, in my opinion, missed the biggest opportunity. If Tumblr went mobile quicker and properly, I'm not sure Instagram would have happened in the same way. I think they're the ones in the short term that left the most on the table.
What is it about necessarily the kind of Instagram, we just mentioned them and their 15-second limit, and Vine that's made Vine really, it seems from my perspective online, more of a talking point? Do you think 6 seconds made it was just the right number versus 50?
I made a video about this. Every time a company creates a feature to compete with something else, it's a feature. Short form video is Vine's DNA. Bless you. Short form video is Vine's DNA. It's what they are. Instagram added it to compete with Vine. Always a bad formula, right? Just like Poke was gonna, from Facebook, was gonna do something to Snapchat, right? Just like hashtags on Facebook. How's that going, right? So I think that, and then I watched this is why I don't allow my employees to read other articles around social media. Like, there's a really negative point of view inside VaynerMedia to read Ad Age or TechCrunch or Mashable because I'm scared. I'm scared because as soon as that Instagram thing came out, everybody started putting out like articles like Vine's dead because everybody's silly. They think scale matters more than it does. They think just because Instagram has 200 million people that all of a sudden 40 million don't matter on Vine. It's not how it works. It's never been that. And so everybody sees scale and they're like, well, that's dead. And that's not the case. DNA matters. The seed in which a product is born from matters.
Out to the floor.
I made it up to the back. I'm up here now. Someone
love
up
it.
here?
How do I get as loud as that mic? Can you bump me? No? Fuck.
Hello, Gary. My name's Leki. I work for a PR agency called the Baton Hall. With so much, social media channels out there and apps and platforms, how does a brand choose which one is the most relevant social media app to use to reach their customer?
I think a brand needs to be smart enough to know who their customer is. Oh, by the way, what I've come to learn is most of them don't, because they pay Bain or McKinsey or Cambridge Group or Boston Consulting a shitload of money for a small sample size of data, and they decide, oh, we're targeting this female. Meanwhile, you see the chatter and conversation, public free data showing you that your brand is not necessarily just to these people. Look at all these people. I'll never forget Saks Fifth Avenue. I had an early meeting with them back in '09, and they didn't even want, it was that Cristal thing. They didn't want the customers that were talking. I'm like, but they're customers. Like, it's an insane thing to decide which customers you want, right? I get owning the brand, but that becomes, you can be put in a very tough spot if you don't realize it. To me, it's getting the best data you have from your retail partners if you're a brand to figure out who's actually buying your product and then mapping it to where those people actually are. And that data is tough to come by. But I think some of it's anecdotal from a strategy standpoint. I don't think 50 to 70-year-old men are on Snapchat. And if they are, they're probably doing some gangster ass shit, right? But I think I want to say this. I also think there needs to be a purpose why you jump on something. We put brands on early platforms. We put General Electric on Vine the first day because the strategy is earned media. By GE getting earned media of being a first mover in that platform within the trade, they're attracting better talent. So it depends on what your KPI is. There's a lot of, at the highest levels, at the CEO level, at the real shit that matters level, there's more things than just selling the product on the shelf, right? There's the stock price, there's recruiting talent, there's biz dev, there's effect. How about when a CPG brand jumps on Snapchat, gets a lot of press, and all of a sudden Tesco and Walmart want to do business with them because they think they're innovative? So like if I put you on Snapchat and it gets you a ton of press and that helps you get a better relationship with your biggest customer, wasn't that a good reason to do it? Everybody's just too black and white. The world is gray. Yeah. So the answer, I feel like I jumped around a little bit. The answer is pretty simple. I think there's two things. One, you have a good, everybody's on Facebook. You can play there, right? Instagram is very close to being where Facebook was 3-4 years ago. Everybody's gonna be on Instagram in 12 months, to 24 months, so it matters for every brand to be on Instagram. But Instagram is not like a digital website, right? We gotta treat it like print because it doesn't let you do anything. There's no linking out of Instagram. So you almost have to treat it like print to storytell there. So there's just a lot of dynamics. It's why I wrote the book, because I think everybody just lumps everything into social media and they're all so different.
I need to say thank you to the company Baton Hall that Leke are from because they did some great PR for us as well. So I forgot to mention you on stage, so thanks.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Baton Hall.
There is somebody in the room called Steve Smith. Steve?
The beer?
No, I wish. He picked up 5 books from us for the talk today, and we offered him a question, but he's not here, or I can't see him. So we'll come to the lady over there.
Is he here?
Get a question.
He's here, he's here.
He's here? Okay.
So you get a question, sir.
Don't be scared, Steve. And stand up.
Too many bags to stand up.
Before you ask, let's clap it up for Steve Smith.
Maybe I should just sing a song.
Just hold the mic up there a little bit close to your mouth, buddy.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I'm here to learn, so this is all new to me. So that's why I didn't put a question down. I'm here just soaking it all up. But it's been fantastic so far.
Thank you so much.
So, sorry, no question.
No problem.
From the heart, from the heart.
Flattery is way more interesting than questions, if you want to be honest.
We've got a question here from Gary Kay from Loving Social Media, who helped us with some PR as well.
Gary, you know I love your energy.
Yes, but you brought me chocolate ice cream today instead of coffee.
I fucked up. I fucked up.
I know you did.
Gary, you know what I love about you the most?
I have
It's
no
your
idea.
work ethic. Your work ethic, sir. So what do you say to all these people that think they can do social media easily? The word hustle, I'm hoping, is going to come out.
So I think the answer is hustle. So I think, listen, I think work ethic, you know, I love it. I really do think that people grossly underestimate the balance between work ethic and talent, right? Talent gets you to a certain place, and then there's another variable to it. And so I'm a big fan of it, specifically within social. I'm starting to realize very recently, this is one of the first few times I'm ever saying this, we got caught. Web 1.0 and 2.0 were very automated and very quick results driven. If you've been on the web for the last decade or 15 years, we got caught because email marketing, SEO and SEM, banner retargeting, all this stuff worked quickly. If you want, I mean, the reason I built a business from 3 to 60 was because I email marketed when nobody else did it, and I had 88% open rates, right? I mean, like, because it was new and nobody was doing it. So we had this web revolution where things, you know, you did something and you got quick results. Then it matured into this thing called social media, and it's actually the opposite. Social media is human. Your best relationships didn't happen overnight. Maybe some of your most fond ones, but not your best ones, right? And so, where we're caught is jab, 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 right hook. Give, 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 and then ask. We're coming from Web 1.0 and Web 2.0, which was ask, 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 ask. And because it was new and highly effective and quite targeted in comparison to print, radio, television, outdoor, it converted quite well. You know, you landed 1 in every 4 of those right hooks. Pretty good ratio compared to the 1 in every 500 that traditional media did. And remember, I built a lot of my library on traditional media. I'm not a new age kid. I love print and radio and television and direct mail still today. My problem is, it's all overpriced. All traditional media right now is priced as if we live in 2002 instead of 2014. That's the only problem I have with it. I'd still run a commercial if they charged me the appropriate price in a world where everybody DVRs and PVRs, and or if a commercial's lucky to break through all the new technology, the second one comes up, you grab your phone and you're looking down and you're not paying attention. So, you know, to me, I've never had the people that set auto DMs to their Twitter accounts, I want to stab in the throat. The people that think that like you can automate human touch are wrong, and that's why they've struggled with it. They've tried, most people are applying, I truly believe most people are applying SEO and SEM, banner targeted, and email marketing psychology to social, which is why they're not getting results.
I think the right side of the room needs some.
It shows
Some
right side,
love,
some
right?
love, yeah.
Thanks so much. Hey Gary, hey Raj. I'm Champagne Jane. My question is related to your original business, the one that obviously stimulated me all those years ago, Wine Library TV.
Yes.
I started my YouTube channel thanks to you.
Thank you.
When you want to change the market, I mean, you changed the way people communicated on wine, and you made it accessible. You obviously had the back end because you had the business selling wine as well. If you want to change, change the market to make, I'm trying to make champagne accessible. That gives me problems with the industry that want to keep it kind of aspirational and so on and so forth.
Douchey.
Pardon? Douchebags.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
What would I do?
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit, so I have even more context. I think what you have to do, anytime you want to disrupt something and you're getting restriction or pushback from people within the market that are stopping you. So to get very technical, for you, if you're trying to demystify champagne and the champagne industry makes all their money by the mystification, so that's the reason they're able to charge those prices, your problem is they don't support you. They're not gonna give you money, they're not gonna give you samples, they're not gonna give you products for events, they're not gonna support you. There's a lot of people that have this problem. It's what Uber went through. As an investor in Uber, the taxi industry has been fighting us legally, paying off politicians. Bad stuff, right? Stuff that I know the liquor industry would do too. The answer is you go around them. The only way to defeat the establishment when they don't want you to win is to go around them. There is no peace, there's no deal, there is no appeasing. You punch them in the neck. So the way you do that is you start trying to figure out who else aligns with your interests. I'll give you a weird one, Champagne Jane. What about the sparkling wine industry in America? What if you mapped the 15 most important wine producers in America that make sparkling wine, or the Brazilian wine market that's trying to make a name for themselves? So the Brazilian sparkling wine market is trying to make a name for themselves. You want to talk about something that nobody takes seriously? It's sparkling wine from Brazil. But you know what's funny? It's backed by the government. You know what governments have? Money. I'm sure if you had a conversation with them that they may, you're not gonna get your money from Moet. You're gonna get your pushback from them. You need to find whether a retailer, a distributor, or some other interested parties, you need to go around them to find the dollars that will support you. Because literally you could take the Brazilian money in marketing and buy French champagne if you need it for events or sampling it on your show. Right, I mean, English sparkling wine's a perfect example. I mean, so I think you need to say, go fuck yourself to the champagne market. You need to realize they're dramatically less powerful than you think they are. That's the first thing you need to do. Because I talked to you, I know you feel they are. I'm telling you they're not. And you need to feel like, BMW can give you the money. The BMW can think that they're associated to champagne. Like, you need to think outside your box. You got it.
Gary, where do you want me to go?
Wherever you want to, let's go back there.
That was the best name as well so far, right? Champagne Jane. Like, that's the first rap name that we've had from the crowd.
So true.
Gucci Mane featuring Champagne Jane and Waka Flocka Flames.
Hi, my name's Kat. I'm from Blogtacular. We're at Blogtacular on Twitter. We're a UK blog conference. We're working at the moment on our first event, and one of our challenges is convincing companies that they want to sponsor us, they want to invest in what we're doing. How do we help them make that leap, understand that what they're investing in is that early platform involvement and that it will be exponential for their brand?
Two ways. One, you listen. So you actually go to them and ask them what they want to get out of it. I mean, putting on events, you know this with this, I mean, putting on events, people just start going to where they think the brands or organizations that should put dollars into them without knowing if they even believe in event marketing. It might not even be your event. They might have decided theoretically that they don't believe in event marketing or they've allocated dollars somewhere else. So the biggest problem with salespeople is they don't listen. So the first thing you need to do is ask questions. Is this even theoretically? Because the second they say yes, now you can compare it to where they put their dollars elsewhere. The best way to get dollars is to compare yourself to something else they've done. Now, if you're in your first year, the things they've done are more established, they're safer, right? The thing you need to do is paint them a picture. And the picture you need to paint them is reverse engineering the most successful events ever. And so you should show them, and you should do the homework on how the first South by Southwest actually happened, how the first Lay Web happened. And what you'll find out if you do the first Lay Web is that the early sponsors get a discount today and are saving themselves a fortune. You need to sell them a picture. First, ask questions, find out it's even feasible. Second, what happens is when you ask questions, you get data. When they say yeah, and then you go, which conferences? They go, these 5. Then you go watch what they do, and you say, listen, Timmy, you sponsored UK Expo this, and all they did for you was throw your logo up here. Here's what I'll do for you. I mean, there's ways, but you need to reverse engineer from the actual question. Got it?
I just want to learn something as well, being an events guy. So you have a conference that pushes blogging, or the benefits of that? Is that right?
It's on.
Essentially, it's a business conference for people whose business is blogging. So it's for blogging creatives, people who blog about design, creative people who have a real
show them what's going on with VaynerWorld in the US. It's a humongous event. It's going on January 4th to the 6th in Las Vegas. Show them the brands that are involved. Show them Google and see what VaynerWorld looked like 6 years ago, because I can tell you what it looked like. It was small. Now it's 80 times the size.
Okay.
Paint a historical picture.
But see, my question off the back of that is, just to you, just so I understand, when you say how do I convince people, what do you fundamentally want out of it? Like
money. Honestly,
like do you want if you want money at the end of it?
No, I mean we want it to work on 3 levels. We want it to work for us as a business, we want it to work for the businesses we work for, and we want it to be amazing for our attendees. We don't want to shortchange them. So we want to create partnerships between the brands and the attendees so that they can storytell, so that their blog outreach is elegant and it's
you want to educate
led by
them.
Creative bloggers, so that they're doing something.
There's also something else. There's also something else you should do. You should go on my YouTube page and watch the video where I taught people how to get advertisers on their blog.
Yeah.
Where I just picked up the phone and called somebody. Like, the answer to your question also is to knock on every single door.
Yeah.
Like, I get this all the time. They're like, how do I get a sponsor? I'm like, okay, like here I'm trying to move fast on Q&A and give you more of the religion than the church. But like, how many people have you asked?
Yeah, a lot. A lot of people.
How many?
We're probably up to about 30 to 50 different companies, but we're targeting quite a niche.
Get the fuck out of your niche.
Aligned. Okay.
You know what I mean? 30 to 50 is dick. Right? So first find more, because if you have 30 to 50, I promise you, and don't make me double check because I'll call you out, there's probably 30 to 50 other things that are close enough, right? Did you ask WordPress? Automatic?
Not yet. We're talking.
Did you ask Get Barley? I know who you're looking for, but I also know that WordPress is a blogging platform that has fucking money, right? So you've asked 30 to 50 because you've narrowly decided you also want to go to people who can get the benefit of doing a better job of pitching to bloggers for their bigger benefit, because that makes sense. But you're stuck. You're stuck here, and you need to be looking here. Because, by the way, you're running a marathon. It's not about this year. Get your money from fucking Pepsi. I don't give a fuck. Because if you get the money, then next year you can get the right person, right? I mean, people are too cute about what they're looking. I mean, when I hear startups saying we want to get the smart money, I'm like, asshole, you're not going to get any fucking money. You know, and so I think you need to get out of your zone, and you need to get your money.
Okay. Money first, niche later. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
You can be cute later. Get your money, and it gives you a whole nother year to build up for next year to storytell.
Was it the understory for this?
A check matters when you need it.
When you talk about being true to yourself, the understory here to me is about doing what's true to yourself and your DNA. So if you wake up every morning saying, I want to educate people for this and create these collaborations, if that's the reason why you wake up to do it, then I find it comes together a lot easier. Like when we came up with VaynerWorld, we were just like, we just want to fucking do it. Like, you've got one guy who's got a packaging company, me, I'm a DJ, you know. There wasn't like, we want to do it and retire this Christmas. And so if it's something you really kind of want to do, then that's cool. And if it's a check, then it's a check. And if it's a check, then yeah, call Pepsi or find anybody who's going to do it.
The other thing, this is just a very general rule. It's how I built VaynerMedia. I have no time to convince you to give me your money. I'd much rather spend that 3 hours finding 33 other people to pitch, because 2 of them are just going to give you the money without the fucking conversation. I mean that. You like that? You know, like it's a really broken thought process. When I started VaynerMedia, people didn't want to pay us $5,000 a month for what we did. It was 2009. It was early. And people always kept asking me, how did you convince people? I'm like, I didn't. I'm like, I just want them to historically look back and realize how stupid they were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Save all the people that said no to you. You know, and then call them in 3 years when you're crushing. And say you're going to charge them double.
We got a question back up here.
Yeah, I'm Kevin. I used to work at Razorfish, then went to set my own company up called Grandad.
Good for you.
To hear that you're winning all the business from the major agencies, do you think it's because there's a shortage of knowledge around social media still within the agencies?
I think there's an audacity in the agencies right now that there's not enough dollars there for them to worry about it, and they're gonna get caught. Because that's, and you know, right? You know way more than me. I'm just learning, you being at Razorfish, you know, like, because my fees are so much less than one, especially digital agencies. It's so funny, digital agencies have been shocking to me. I didn't realize how, Razorfish being one of them back in the day, the pioneer in a lot of ways, I didn't realize how digital agencies made their money. They made money by building shit brands didn't need at really expensive prices. When I heard one of my brands paid $400,000 for a web experience, when I know how much it cost Foursquare to build fucking Foursquare, not some dumb fucking landing page, I shit my pants. It blew my fucking mind. I'm like, I literally thought they were joking to me. I like did like the fun like, and like everybody was like, I was like, oh, I was literally stunned. I was like, wow. Like, it was probably the moment when I realized, oh, I'm gonna kill these fuckers. If, you know, because I was like, if they're ripping off brands like this for that, here's a digital agency, at least traditionally, not everybody, I'm generalizing, but it was the first 30 of 33 things I saw my brand spending money on. Hey, build this website, pay us way more money than you should, especially from a guy like me that knows how much startups pay to build something, and then spend your money to drive awareness to it. Ludicrous. Not the rapper.
Where else are we going, Serge? We're heading into the middle, into the Netherlands. Stand up there, pal. What's your name?
Hey, Gary. How's it going?
It's going really well.
Carl here from Like Digital. Just a quick question about Chinese social media and how much attention is VaynerMedia paying to Weibo and WeChat? And also, how much attention do brands in 2014 be paying to this? Everyone in this room?
It's a great question. So we're not paying as much attention as I'd like to it, just because we're growing too fast, right? And so like, I'm not able to take a step back. I was supposed to go there this year and spend 2 weeks meeting with all the CEOs of those companies, and I didn't do it, which I really regret, because I think it's really important to understand. I think to me, the real question is, what happens when they go and try to go outside of their walls? What will happen? I think in the US, there's a very heavy anti-anything not US sentiment. So I'm not so curious about that. I'm curious about the rest of the world, where it's more neutral. And so, you know, they're really interesting companies. You know, for me, we've not opened up those markets because it's really, like, what's great about going global for VaynerMedia as we plan on, it is, you can go to other markets and it's still, outside of the slang and the language, it's the mechanics of the platforms are the same. They're all different, it's a complete island. I was born in a communist country. I was born in the former Soviet Union. I am more cynical about China being so open than most. I've also watched some really good young companies grow there and then be just shut down because they were going to compete against people that were more wired into the government. I'm very uncomfortable with the market, way, way, way more. People see money and they disregard communism. I think that's a dangerous move. But I think we should all be paying attention. WeChat's really interesting. I think that it's an incredible country. I think there's tremendous innovation. I love the work ethic. It speaks to me. I think we should be paying attention. But on the flip side, I think it was kind of the Snapchat conversation. I don't worry about predicting the future. I don't worry about the notion of Weibo's gonna be big in 2 years. Let me overpay attention. I'm so singularly focused on executing within the reality of the marketplace at the moment that, you know, when Vine launched in late January, I just shut down from 11 p.m. to 3 o'clock in the morning for 4 weeks. I literally stayed up and played with it, right? Like, when shit hits the fan, I'm ready to go into the trenches. And so, but I think theoretically, it would be very naive to disregard it completely. I have global clients, so they want me to figure it out. I just am not ready to expand at that level. I mean, we grew so much last year. We're gonna go international probably this year, so I've got those headaches. So that's probably a 15 game for me, if I had to guess. And I feel pretty comfortable that nothing too crazy is gonna happen in 14, but I could be wrong.
Gary, speaking of governments and different countries and their policies, how much has the in the last 18 months, and certainly in the United States, there's a conversation about the NSA and privacy and access to data?
Nobody gives a shit about privacy.
Now, if that's at a client level,
Yep.
do you think that there'll be a snapping point for consumers where they go, you know what, this is just me pumping my behavior straight to the government?
It could happen. Here's what I'll tell you. Convenience will trump will trump privacy every day of the week. So if something's convenient and it can be hidden, Yeah, maybe. But if I have to do 2 things for 29 seconds more than I want to, fuck it.
Yeah, yeah.
And by the way, that's not how I view it. That's what we're actually doing. That's me watching behavior and mapping it backwards. That's not my prediction. That is exactly how we're living our lives. Because the funny part is, and again, this is a very American answer, mine. There's definitely governments, including China, including Belarus, where I was born, where that is not the way people think. It's a very democratic point of view. So this is not the way people think in every country. But in most of the markets that I look at, whether it's Brazil, the UK, America, you know, that is the way that most people, they don't care about privacy, because there's a dirty little secret. Traditional media has done a really good job over the last 80 years misbranding human beings. If you watch the news, we are a bunch of bad people. We're doing bad things all the time. The truth is, if you look at the data, the reason we're still here is human beings, in my opinion, is the #1 unrated brand in the world. We're ridiculously good. It's stunning how good we are. The fact that we singularly, individually, can do so much harm to each other, and we don't, by any stretch of the imagination, by data, is mind-boggling to me. It speaks to why we're all still here. It's how we're wired, and I think we're grossly underestimated. The reason we don't care about privacy in more democratic worlds is because humans are good. The only 2 things we care about is the health and well-being of us and our friends and our family, and our money. How many people here have had credit card fraud? Raise your hand. Good amount. Looks like 30, 40%. You got your money back. If you didn't, you'd give a fuck about privacy. But because the things that kidnapping is down, because it's harder to kidnap because we all have phones and we're gonna take a picture and take a video. There's so much good happening in our society because the shadows are being taken away, the privacy. Everybody looks at the negative of lack of privacy. Here's what I know about lack of privacy. I've become a better human being because I think I'm always on the record now because I have triple Z-list celebrity, and it's stunning to me how I act as a human being because I know everything's being recorded, every picture's being taken. That plays in my mind. It'll start happening to everybody as everybody has some level of fame because we're all gonna have our 15 minutes and, you know, forever. Number 2, crime, outward public crime is down because people can't hide, right? People, like, there's so many trends that are exciting me that with privacy, meanwhile, ads, I get better ads now, right? Because I'm being tracked, I get the ads I actually want. I want to be tracked. I want to see New York Jets and Lionel Richie ads. He's underrated, guys. You know, I don't want to see bourbon ads just because I'm a dude going to ESPN.com. So I like being tracked. I prefer it. It's giving me a better experience. So I think human beings, in a shocking way, by a higher percentage than I like, are quite cynical. I am not. I see a lot of things the other way, and I think that the lack of privacy is actually going to end up being a good thing. Some things will be bad. Some things of everything is bad. But I actually think there's going to be a lot more benefits than people realize.
Scott, to the floor.
Do you know what? I've got a question and I've got the mic, so. What you tell us about the last 2 years of VaynerMedia, where you went from 24 to 300 employees, I think for a lot of people in the room who are in small business, is quite motivational or inspirational. What can you tell us about the first year of VaynerMedia that might be maybe reassuring?
Reassuring?
You know, can you go back to what you told me earlier on about the core start? 4 people in a room?
Yeah, I mean, we started a lot of you, there's a lot of agency people here, or some it seems by the questions. We started VaynerMedia in Buddy Media's conference room in New York. If you remember that company that sold for $800 million to Salesforce recently. You know, the first year of VaynerMedia was me getting clients, and AJ and 5 other people, the 4 or 5 people we started with, executing, because I was crush it, Wine Library TV, Wine Library, speaking, angel investing, so I wasn't fully in. The first 18 months I wasn't fully in. I got involved, and that's why I'm very on the offense as an individual. It's just how my business model, if I see an opportunity and I think we're better, and I think, back to that gentleman's question, if I think Razorfish and everybody else is underestimating, I went all in. You know, I don't know what to say. I'd love to say it's gonna be okay and like, you're gonna make it, but that's not how I feel. Meaning, I very much hope you will, but the truth is, everything is predicated on execution. Everything is predicated on execution. And I think that I don't have a good enough read on, it's about executing. You have to execute. Your theories can be right. Do you know how many people are right about their idea? Like, I have 74 ideas right now that I promise you will be successful if somebody fucking executes it, right? You have to execute. So here's my reassuring thing. If you actually do the tangible things right, if you actually understand how to run a cash flow positive business, if you, in my opinion, want to grow and are on the offense instead of the defense, instead of cutting expenses, finding ways to get more revenue. That to me is the biggest problem why people don't grow. They're conservative and on the defense because they're fearful. To me, I'm fearful to not be on the offense.
I think a lot of that fear comes from the romanticizing of bootstrapping by the American tech press. I mean, the more broke you are, and if you're eating ramen noodles for the first 2-3 years of your tech startups, the more they want to kind of go on about it. But the reality is, I mean, just tell us about the fact that you've not taken investment for VaynerMedia and it's being run from the P&L, right?
Yeah, I mean, I hate that we have in the tech culture this culture of celebrating when people raise money.
Just being a college student for life, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, just the notion of like, oh, we raised $5.3 million. I'm like, fuck that. That is literally emotional and legacy debt. If you lose, that's on the books. And 99% of people are gonna lose. For every Instagram, there's 5 million Insta shits. I said it, And what we have now is even a scarier thing. We have this advent of the entrepreneur, and there's a whole lot of students that think they're entrepreneurs. And that has become really interesting for me to watch because there's plenty of people that are both students and entrepreneurs, but boy, is there a lot of people that know how to play the student game that the second they deal with the adversity of being an entrepreneur, fold like a tent.
Yeah.
So can I ask, is @Digital Blonde in here? Karen? Do you have a question? I should have asked Steve before. Do you have a question?
I'll take a flattering comment.
So the reason I called out Karen is she picked up 10 copies of the book to share with people. So
thank you, Karen.
She deserves some love.
So as you know, Karen,
@Digital
Blonde on Twitter. I had to quickly rethink of a question because I cannot remember what I asked you. But I'm writing a book on #food porn and interested in people's...
what?
Food porn.
If you don't hold the mic next to your mouth, it's just I'm writing a book on porn. Good. And this is the lesson that my good microphone technique teaches us. So sorry.
Cool. So #food porn, okay.
Yep. And very much interested in people's relationship with food via social media and digital channels.
It's really incredible.
Thank you. And Jamie Oliver has been quoted for saying he feels the real food revolution will come from the mobile phone. And I'd be interested to hear your thoughts if that is truth and social can change our relationship with food and health and make for a better society.
Jamie's being smart. Now, I have no idea if we go to glass or some robotic helmet, but until the phone, you could replace the word food there, the mobile phone will revolutionize everything in our lives until we go to some other device that is the most robotic in nature. Meaning, how many people by show of hands right now, every 24 hours, including when you're sleeping, are always within arm's reach of your telephone? Raise it. So hold on, raise it high, and I want to let the cameras do your thing. Raise it high, get this, because this is massively important. This is outrageous. I said something the other day, I said, I literally have gotten to the place where I'd rather somebody roll up on me, stab me with a knife in the chest, and steal my wallet than lose my phone. So, whether Google Glass is able to replace that, or we start putting the phone basically on our arm, which is what I think will happen, or something of that nature, whatever is the most robotic thing in our lives, which is the phone right now, will revolutionize everything. If the mobile phone is able to keep its leadership as the device over the next decade, the things that it will revolutionize is everything. Uber, the company I'm proud to be an investor in, Travis, and they've revolutionized transportation, and it's just starting. Payment, I mean, we're just seconds away because the only reason we don't pay with our phones and everything is legacy and politics around the POS system at retail. Nothing else. It's just a matter of time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
When you get a chance, go back to the top left corner.
Gary, it's John, and I'm launching the Harry Buckers Diet Club in the new year. You work a lot, and you travel a lot. How do you stay focused, and how do you maximize the time that you're traveling?
I stay focused very easily. I'm completely, utterly, 100% driven by gratitude. I'm extremely aware of where I was born. I mean, guys, I was born in the most communist country at its height, and I was the most capitalistic kid ever born, right? I had no chance of leaving the Soviet Union. Nobody did in all those years. Nobody left Russia, guys. What happened was there was this singular little moment where Russia had a food problem because they made a lot of bad decisions. Overall, they did. And they traded Russian-born Jews to America and Israel that made a pact where America traded wheat for Jews. I was traded for wheat and was able to get out of the Soviet Union in 1978. Insane. So I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for the fact that I have incredible parents. I've got very fortunate DNA. I suck at 99% of the things in the world. I just happen to be good at one of the things that really matters, which is how to make money, right? I mean, it's a good thing to be good at, right? No, I mean it. I really, really struggle in almost everything, but I'm a good businessman. I'm an entrepreneur. It's one of the good things to have, for sure. And so I'm just driven by gratitude. I'm super aware that we only have one life, you know, from what I know. And I'm super aware that I was gifted with something that matters, that I can communicate, that I can impact others while benefiting myself. I'm super grateful. It keeps me very laser focused, you know, very laser focused. I am fucking thankful, man, you know? Maximizing time, easy. I'm never anywhere. I'm so in and out. Everybody's like, oh, you're going to London and Paris this week. I'm like, I could be in fucking Newark. I'm going to be there for 2 minutes, right? Just everything is really, especially now that I have children, like if I can be home, I will be home. It's in and out, red eyes, fucking, you know, like it's very strategic. I mean, I was in Istanbul, Kuwait City, and Madrid, and I didn't spend 24 hours in any of the places. Like I'm spending more time in the plane than the city that I'm in. So, you know, I mean, I got here to London this morning. We've been here the whole time. This could be in fucking the Bronx, you know?
All right, we're down to our last, as far as question time before we get into the last feature of the night.
We're getting kicked out of here, right? That's the game? Is that like...
I think the main idea is that everyone gets a chance to meet you and get their book signed. That's probably the big override.
And so the people that already got that will try to be polite to the others that didn't, right? And then on the back end, we have to be out of here when?
9:45.
Okay.
And then also we've got to make some time just to, because we're going to be giving away, there's only one of these. And if you want to see another thing that we've done to make VaynerWorld special, because VaynerWorld is all about Gary's personality at large and the hustle, from hip hop to speaking and entrepreneurship, right down to what you're going to see, which I think will be a world first, which is you being an auctioneer. And we're going to be giving away this right here.
This could be a pivotal moment in my life.
Massive
I have a funny feeling
I'm going to take out the Web 2.0 video with this. That's at 750,000 views. I want to beat that. Where we'll be giving away this sign personalized to you along with 5 books, and the money will be going to Great Ormond Street Hospital. But we are in our last 5-10 minutes, and now I'm thinking about food because you said wheat, and I'd be happy to trade Suj for a kebab. Let's take it. Please give us your name and where you're from.
Hi, Gary. I'm at Notorious Nicola on Twitter. You tweeted me earlier.
Notorious Nicola, Champagne.
How are you?
Love you. Sorry. So I have a website selling luxury sex toys and designer bedroom accessories. Yeah.
Yep.
Lacoquette.com if anyone wants anything. It's a really niche
Privacy
market.
is dead.
Really niche market, and I was interested in what you were saying earlier about going around the sort of, I have really big competitors who can throw a lot of money at stuff and really discount, and I'm trying to operate in a more luxury without being, you know, too niche. What advice would you give someone?
Content. Content is the game. You have to, I get it.
Wait, yeah. Okay.
Yes. Like, listen, this is what she sells. She's got no problem. What's your problem?
I'm shy. I'm saving myself.
Yeah, I get it.
Is that what you put in, Raj?
Yeah, Raj.
What? I put in what?
Raj.
Wait, what? I just got told I had to put something in. I don't even hear the first part of that sentence. I'm worried.
I think that you need to really, you know, to me, it's about content. So you think of something iconic like Playboy, right? It wasn't just the pictures. There was other things that fed to the demo. I would do a really, if we were working together, I'd actually look at who's actually buying the product.
I was about to say that actually, because I set up a really female-focused website, and still 60% of the people who buy from me are men.
Yep.
And it's how to really harness that market for me, because, rather than fighting to harness another market that won't come to me. So
listen, I think that there's a lot of tasteful ways for you to be very successful in using things. I mean, I would tell you that Pinterest infographics for you, for the female, 40% is a complete no-brainer.
Yeah.
I would tell you that you've got to do a lot more blogging and listen, to give an answer that will benefit everybody, every single person in this room and every one of your businesses / organizations, your teacher, whatever you do, every one of them, you and the business, you are in the media business. You're not in the sex toy business, you're in the media business, comma, sex toy business. Got it?
Yep.
Media business, comma, DJ. Shy sex toy guy, right? So the second everybody in this room, the Michelin Tire Company. The Michelin Tire Company 100 years ago had a business problem. People weren't driving enough yet to wear out their tires, and thus they didn't buy tires. Do you know what they did? They started the Michelin Review. The reason there's 3-star Michelins, my friends, is because a tire company needed people to drive. And so they went out to the countryside and started reviewing the best restaurants and all these things, and made it up because they probably wanted to say the best foie gras was the furthest place out. Then they took the books, put it in London and Paris, and got people to drive. Somebody would pick up a book at the fancy, place and be like, oh, the best foie gras is in Burgundy? Honey, we're going to Burgundy this weekend. And they literally fixed their business problem of using tires by getting people to go far away by using media. One of the things you could be talking about, you should be talking about cigars and golf and what you call football and I call soccer. You could be blogging about this, and you should be looking at things like BuzzFeed, who make content that's viral, right? Okay. You should have a blog post putting like the 7 best balls, right? And so like, there's a lot of plays that you can have, but you need to become a media company. The only way you're gonna be able to beat competitors that can throw money against search, which I'm sure is a huge driver for your industry. The only way you're going to be able to compete with that is to become the authority of content. Right. It's why I started Wine Library TV, right? I became the Wine Spectator, Jancis Robinson, Robert Parker, right? You need to do that, but you don't have to just do it as direct as I did with Wine Library TV. We're pitching a client right now that sells crackers to become the leading reviewer of cheese, right? Yeah. And so like you can play with things that are within the world of the thing that you actually sell.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. But you have to do it, right? Like it's like exercise, right? Like this book and what I just told you is right? But so is the way to get a 6-pack in your stomach, right? There's a right way to get a 6-pack for your stomach. There's exercises, right? And there's a diet. I know what they are. I'm not doing it. So I can tell you what to do. I can write. For $30, you can find out what to do. But the problem is, back to that other question where I got kind of like in my zone, it's execution. You know what the answers are. Maybe you don't. There's plenty of people that look like myself that can give you a lot of good ones, but you have to pick them and actually do them. Period. London?
We've got another question back here.
Hi Gary, my name's Jonathan Bright. I'm from Southerly. We're a content creation agency. We tweet at...
Good timing.
Yeah.
Hire this man.
We tweet at Hello Southerly, by the way. Basically, I read this morning that the ideal amount of hashtags in a Twitter post should be 5 hashtagged words, which I thought was pretty insane. I think that the power of Twitter is pretty unharnessed at the moment still, in my opinion. I just wondered, from your perspective, what you think companies, businesses are doing wrong with Twitter, and what direction is content going with Twitter? Are we going more hashtags, less hashtags,
The 5 hashtag thing is interesting, right? Because I have a lot of data. First of all, any report and data can tell you any story somebody wants to tell, right? You can force any story. There's a lot of reasons to use hashtags. You know, I think Instagram, from my data, shows more hashtags on Instagram tend to over-index than more hashtags on Twitter. Twitter's got several things that make most people struggle with it. Number one, Twitter's the only social network. Everything else is a content platform, right? I mean, remember Facebook fan pages that, remember 3 years ago, a Facebook fan page that if you left a comment on somebody's wall, a brand or a page, it was the first thing you saw when you landed on a Facebook page? That's long gone. You can't even find the comments anymore with the way Facebook has made it. They want to be a content play, right? So because Twitter's the only true social network, it's the place to act the most human, which is the biggest problem at hand. I think twitter.com/search is the most important site for everybody. I mean, the fact that the lovely lady right before you can search every day for people in the UK or anywhere she sells the word dildo and find people that are an opportunity for her to do business with, I think is fascinating. I mean, people are sharing information, maybe not that information as much as maybe that they're drinking wine or champagne or running, but we're living in a world where people are sharing, it's consumer insights at scale. I still think twitter.com/search for every entrepreneur and small business is the single most important website on the entire internet. I really do. It's the place where you can start a base by jabbing and not right hooking. The biggest thing people are making a mistake on, Twitter doesn't have an algorithm like Facebook does for the best content. Twitter is noisy as hell. There's so much stuff going on that people follow more people. I mean, the amount of people you follow on Twitter right now that you don't care about is stunning. But you're not going to take the hour to unfollow. It's just the way we do things. We don't purge. It's not one of our habits. It's like privacy. It's something we don't do. It's why Facebook had to create an algorithm they used to call EdgeRank. Now they're not calling it that, but just that's why it exists. So to me, one of the biggest things that you need to do is, I think Twitter is the biggest jab platform. I think you need to engage with people, you need to respond to people, you need to be a counterpuncher, you need to listen to other people talking and jump in, because it's the only place you can do that. There is no social network that a sex toy company can jump in and have a conversation with somebody, because you don't get to see people talking to you unless you follow them on every other platform, right? I mean, we have to understand this. It's a very big variable. So Twitter is very much a response place. Twitter wants to be in the content game because that's where the money is. So Twitter's going to ruin itself to some degree, in my opinion, because now Twitter cards, you know, how do you storytell on Twitter? You know the dimensions of the mobile pictures, and you act, I mean, the amount of people that have Fortune 100 companies putting out photos on Twitter that don't fit in the imagery in a mobile device, I mean, that's what this is about. Or like, for the people that read this, posting at the wrong time. I mean, if you're gonna post at 9 o'clock in the morning in the US on the Eastern time, and most of your customers are in San Francisco and it's 6 o'clock in the morning, I see this shit all day long. It's crazy, it's ludicrous. So, especially fun to talk about it here because I've seen some London-based businesses that I'm involved in that 85% of their business is in the US, but they're posting on social media 9 to 5, convenient to how they work, when their customers, I mean, it's stupidity. It's early. It's early. Twitter's going to become more of a content play. Where Twitter gets interesting is it's very mobile, right? It's very mobile, and Twitter cards can get interesting. What I'm excited about is the notion of creative that says if you retweet this 100, if this gets 100 retweets, it unlocks a coupon that you can scan at register. There's some fun gamification, but I agree with you. I think Twitter's very under at this point, but I also am concerned that the product team there isn't making the right adjustments.
Just on that, just as a side point, because I think that's become a trend from when I saw you in Dublin, wearable technology. Where do you stand on that? I mean, have you made any early predictions yet?
Every single product in our lives will be smart. It started with our phone. Our shoes will be, your shoes will be smart. You will all wear smart shoes, sneakers, in the next 10 years, and your sneakers are gonna tell you that you're walking poorly and you're gonna have back pain in 17.3 years if you keep doing it. That's fucking awesome. Right? And so like, you know, I always talk about the smart refrigerator. The smart refrigerator is already done. It's gonna be in your homes. So imagine a refrigerator that knows which beer you drink because it understands that you keep putting Guinness in your, oh, well, like Guinness is good warm, but you know, whatever you're putting in there, Beck's, and when you're down to one beer, your refrigerator reorders it for you. That's coming. Smart pants, when you put on your pants in the morning, and your pants text you and say, eat a salad today, fat ass? Because your pants understand that you've gained a little weight. And so, smart everything. Smart everything is just a matter of time.
All smart everything.
All smart everything.
I think we're probably on our, I would say probably last 1 or 2 questions if we're going to get everyone's book signed. So let's make this one the penultimate one, unfortunately.
Hi Gary, my name is Iyas. I love the videos, by the way, as well as this, so thank you very much for that. Bit of inane flattery to start with.
Thank you.
I wear a couple of hats. One of them is a business, but actually the question I wanted to ask you is I've founded a charity for children in war zones, in refugee camps. I'm intrigued. I also am politically active to try and stop the circumstances that put them in that place in the first place. I'm intrigued what the jab, 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 right hook principles that could be applied within that paradigm would be, what the best channels would be in your view, and how to best use them.
To me, you've noticed that subtly I said nonprofits a couple times, right? Yeah. Because I have a lot of passion for this. I'm on the board of Pencils of Promise, which is an organization that builds schools in third world countries. And I've been so happy that I've been able to bring my expertise to that organization because we're doing so much better on social network donations. There is nobody, as bad as companies are, as bad as big companies are on social networks only throwing right hooks, even worse are charities. Every fucking tweet is donate this. For every dollar you retweet this, that. At Gary Vee, can you retweet this every fucking minute, 40 times a day? I have been approached by a nonprofit 80 times this week to retweet for a campaign, none of which even said hello to me before asking me, right? So, like, you know, it's absurd. To me, the jab, 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 right hook in an NGO world is the best. You know why? The jabs are the height of emotion. You want to put out pictures of that scenario as jabs? Guess what? You give me enough of those pictures, enough people share them, I see that, you're going to be able to land your right hook on me. You just asked me for money with one picture? I mean, the NGO space is the worst. They're just so stuck in asking for money, and they need to romance their donators.
This will be the last question, unfortunately.
Let's come up front.
Hi Gary, it's Hire from University of Hertfordshire and Cannes Social project there. I wanted to ask you about the book. You've been pushing out the book very hard, and I can see that everywhere. And I was just wondering, is that because the company or the publisher is not doing the right job for it, or is it because you want to push as much as you can? And my second question, if I can, is how do you plan about promoting the book, and how did you do that? What are the key things for us to think about? Thank you.
So there isn't a publisher in the world that's a marketing company. So my publisher hasn't done dick for me from a marketing standpoint ever, and I actually never expect them to, and don't even think about it. And it's just not what publishers do, in my opinion. Generally, of course, there's some, right? But boy, there's none by my kind of point of view, right? So no, the reason I'm pushing it so hard and throwing so many right hooks and have been hustling so hard was based on the initial, remember I said I'm a counterpuncher? Because so many people think it's so good, because it's positive sentiment, I realize its impact can be more scalable for me because it's being so well received, because it is establishing as itself as the social media 201 book. I realized, oh shit, this has a prayer of really having a network effect. Let me triple down because the reaction I was looking for, I'm getting. So the reason I've done so many business podcasts and willing to give up a lot of the equity I built with a lot of you by posting plenty of right hooks on Facebook and Twitter and saying, buy my book, is because I think there's upside for me, because the amount of people that are reading it and then buying more for their staff, their employees, their friends has been at such a higher rate than my prior to, and that long term that benefits me some way or another. So that was a reaction to the early feedback. I started promoting in August, heavily in August 1st, heavily. So I've been promoting it heavily, not as many right hooks as I am now, because once you're on sale and actually physical, it's easier to convert your right hooks, so I saved that. I think if you're selling anything in life, you're always selling it way before the actual date. The amount of publishers or people that put on events or artists or anything, they're like, I have this event coming out in a month. What should I do on social media? I'm like, it's over. I'm like, social media is a marathon. You need to use paid and search and other things that are quicker, because social, you're just gonna throw right hooks, it's not gonna work. So I started throwing early. You might notice I've had a lot of success this time with SlideShare, right? I've put out 2 SlideShares that are getting a lot of attention. I'm putting out case studies. I mean, I literally left here to post that Medium article. Like, I'm putting out a lot of content because I know I'm throwing so many right hooks that I need to offset it with jabs to the best of my ability. To me, it's running a marathon, doing the right things forever. Last year, because I was running the company and wasn't selling anything, it was very easy for me. I jabbed all of 2012, built me up a nice equity to, you know, and so, you know, to me, the biggest way to sell books specifically is to sell them months before they actually come out, which is not a traditional way. Everybody thinks you hit the week it comes out. I think that's ludicrous. I think you sell months, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months in advance. And to me, using the new medium, right now podcasts in the entrepreneur and business world are very hot. So if you're a business podcast listener, you're not gonna be able to miss me. You're gonna be sick of me, because I've been on all those shows. I've taped more than you haven't heard yet. More are coming. Like, I'm just, you know, and it's been interesting. Like, you know, people are like, I'm watching tweets even on the way here as I was walking over, like, just heard the Michael Hyatt and Pat Flynn and Lewis Howes podcast. Okay, now you finally got me to buy the book. I'm like, motherfucker, I fucking engaged with you for 4.5 fucking years, answered 4 of your emails, you listened to 2 other podcasts, and now you fucking are gonna buy it? It reminds me that none of us are entitled to anything. None of us are entitled to a damn thing. We are in a capitalistic, consumer-based world. Everybody's trying to reach for their money. They only have so much of it, and you need to provide as much value as humanly possible, and then maybe you'll have a chance to convert. The entitlement of businesses and entrepreneurs right now is completely out of whack.
And with that, as a final word.
One more, Raj?
Huh?
One more question?
You're the ops guy, you want to slide it in?
The venue will deal with it. Or we'll get her a discount to the website.
All right.
Oh, what was the second question? You know, I planned to buy, I built a CRM on the back end. I built a personal CRM based on how many times people tweeted at me and engaged with me, and used that data that I bought from DataSift, which is a great company, built a CRM that I built a front end to that raw data that they gave me, which was every historical tweet by everybody that ever tweeted at me, and I looked at it and prioritized who I should reach out to, who had, you know, what I consider clout, not the company, like what I thought was interesting. And then I created a lot of notes and like lived within that, and it was highly effective to me. I'm actually building it out as a product for our agency because I really know what to do with it. And it's very different than what's in the marketplace, which I'm in the business of selling things. You know why I love social media? Because it sells shit. And so I'm building it with that in mind.
Hi Gary. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for giving 100% in all your interviews and just the videos that you contribute online. Your passion and your drive just comes through, and I'm sure, speaking on behalf of everybody, it really motivates us.
Thank you.
One question, I'm from Caricature. We celebrate traditional culture, and what I would like to ask you is, what's the culture of VaynerMedia, and how many people do you have working for you, just closely, not in VaynerMedia, but just to run your interviews, just your schedule?
Me personally, okay. So I'll start with that. I have an assistant. I have a content producer who like literally will watch this video and figure out something that I've never said before and help me turn it into a Medium or a LinkedIn post or a quote card or an infographic. That's 2. He has a designer, so in theory that works on my brand. That's it. Nate was the CEO of this book.
Yeah.
So for this project, Nate's my former assistant, so he's incredible, but it'll be interesting. He won't necessarily work on my brand. But not too crazy, but enough, like the assistant's quite normal. The content person's very unusual. I don't think anybody's really gone there yet. I took a lot of flack for an article that Forbes wrote about it, because they positioned me as a reality star. It's not what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about how do I produce good content. You just what you just said before you asked your question is why I have a content person. Because I'm putting out good content, I'm coming up with it, but I'm just one person. It's good to have somebody watch this right now and be like, well, you've said that 97 times, we don't need to do anything with that. Oh, that was the first time I ever heard you talk about agencies disrespecting the opportunity. Should we do something with that? Or, you know, the culture at Vayner, I think, is extremely good, but it's mainly because I'm the head of HR. I'm the head of HR, comma, CEO. And the reason that is because I want VaynerMedia to be an evergreen company, meaning I will never sell it. And I want it to be the place where I groom talent out of for other things that I do. You first have to go to Vayner before you're gonna be my business partner. And so it has its ups and downs, going from 20 to 300, you know. We went through a little bit of a tough period where we got some negative reviews on Glassdoor and that hurt my feelings. But you know, the truth is that I think our company is extremely healthy. I have a very open door policy. I spend between 2 and 3 hours a day often just sitting and meeting with people. I'm only now hiring a head of HR because I wanted to because I want this company to last forever, I wanted the first 300 to have the religion, right? I'm a dictator about it. We fire people that don't treat the other boys and girls in the office well. It's something that matters to me tremendously. My legacy matters to me tremendously. I don't need people running around the world saying, well, he's really nice in public, but in the company, he's shit.
Last question, it's just a request. You talk a lot about execution, and I know your schedule's crazy busy, and we were just wondering for 2014 if we could possibly interview you for Vaynerchuk TV to discuss this further.
Yes.
I know I won't have an opportunity to meet you again, so I thought I'd just grab this opportunity.
I love your right hook. You landed it. Yes.
Thank you.
My email is on page 193 of the book. Just email me and we'll set it up. Put a lot in the title, like I was the girl that asked for the interview. Like put it all in the title. It'll help me see it quicker.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, everyone. That really felt like the fastest night. I mean, you're sure you'll agree, the fastest 90 minutes you've ever been through in terms of a talk, and I appreciate it very much. Personally, I very much appreciate you supporting everything I've done in the last 5 years, from mixtapes to interviews to even events now. Much respect, dude. And from London and myself, a huge round of applause. Thank you so much, Vaynerchuk.